Hello and welcome to another episode of the CFS Health Recovery Podcast. This one is a really juicy one. We have brought on 5 amazing guest speakers who have actually done our program and giving back their wisdom and their knowledge of really the top 5 key tips for their recovery, what they did, how they did it. And you can listen to the other 4 previously too. So if you go back, listen to the other episodes, they were amazing from episode 11 onwards. But in today's episode, we're going to explore a super important question. And that question is, what factor or factors made the biggest impact in your recovery? So you're going to hear from 5 different amazing people who have been through what you're going through and are out the other end. They're living their life fully. And so, I just want to give a big shout out to these guest speakers, B, Charlie, Jess, Lauren, and Ahil. Massive shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for giving your time. Anyone who's listening to this podcast right now, I would love you to go back and listen to the other 4 before this. But I'd also love you to leave a comment on the YouTube videos as well, just to share your love and appreciation for these people, because they gave you their own time, their wisdom, which I just think is so invaluable. And this was a private event for our private clients, our members. But we wanted to give this out to the community because it was just so good. So sit back, relax, enjoy this episode. What was the biggest factors that made the biggest impact in your recovery? What factors made the biggest impact in your recovery? Charlie, I'm going to throw it to you.
I think partly I learnt to be patient. So I stopped running everybody else's race. Because certainly part of it for me was I was worrying that I wasn't doing as well as other people. And it's that whole perfectionist thing in us, isn't it? Where we think we should be somewhere by a certain time and that person's there and I'm not. So it really all ties in with me, with the value stuff, because I learned to be patient and to trust myself as much as I trusted your process.
There was no race.
Yeah, exactly. There's no race. It's my recovery. And once I learned to trust myself as much as I trusted you in the program, and I learned to be patient with myself as much as I was patient with every other person in the program. So once I started putting my love for everybody else in that process into me, it suddenly started to click, because then I started to appreciate the value of looking after myself properly and kind of working out what it was that I wanted rather than what I thought I should need based on other people. It was a very insular process, with the benefit of such an external kind of gift, if you like.
Yeah, I don't need to add on to that. That was perfect. Thanks for sharing. Amazing. B, what came up for you?
I like the S in factors, as you kind of probably expected me to say, that there are multiple things. But I think the one thing, if I had to pick one, I'd say mental rest, which for me meant meditation, a lot of meditation. Because if I was just lying down resting, my mind is quite a busy mind. So if I was like lying on the couch or in bed, having my allocated rest, but I wasn't intentionally resting my mind, I would be thinking about how I was feeling, I would be stressing, I would be having lots of fear thoughts, and that wasn't resting. So I think that was the biggest factor, was just learning how to calm my mind when I was trying to rest my body, which then the whole of me was resting, right? Not just my body, because if my mind was really busy, my body might be lying on the couch, but it was like tense, it wasn't in a restful mode. I didn't know the difference before I got sick. I had no idea what the difference was. And so learning how to rest my whole system was like the biggest factor. And it still is. I notice that now in my day. Like what you were saying, Toby, is how you do something, not what you do. Like, it's just so good. And it applies to pretty much everything. Yeah.
That's so brilliant. Hey, Jessica, what comes to mind for you?
I can 100% agree with both Charlie and Dave about these things, with the mindset, relaxing, taking down the pressure. I want to add boundaries, because to be able to set up boundaries, I have to I have to have a small belief that I'm worthy of setting up those boundaries, that I'm allowed to say no. So work with that, to in a way of trusting myself, like Charlie said, trust myself to be worthy to say no, to be more me, because that's the thing. When I was constantly in this pleasing and overachieving mode, I wasn't me. And I feel that more and more that I will never go back to the person I was. I'm more like just now finding my way towards the person I actually am. So I would say the whole kind of mindset and boundaries, and also, of course, resting the nervous system properly. So I completely agree with that. With Charlie and Ben. Yeah.
The patience that I learned to have with myself, which was also patience that I needed to apply whether I had CFS or not. So that was sort of just a crumbling of a past block in my life.
Say that again, that last bit.
So it was something that existed even before I had CFS, the impatience and the perfectionism, and breaking that down and accepting where I was at was a huge factor in my recovery, because that patience applied to everything, really, in the program. Patience with myself to, you know, the baseline and sticking to it, and slowly, you know, little by little becomes a lot, that whole mindset. And another one for me was sleep. I make sleep a priority now, and I didn't in the past. And I still feel a big difference when I get 8 or 9 hours versus like 6. So winding down at the end of the day and calming myself down was a big piece of it. And then the other thing was just, I guess, holding myself accountable to stopping the negative mindset and any negative thoughts that I had about where I was at, or comparison and things like that. I put Post-its up all over the walls in my bedroom and my bathroom, and I did a lot of affirmations, and that mindset shift really helped get me out of a lot of bad days.
Yeah, I remember you had a really, really bad day, and one of your wins, basically Lauren had a really, really bad day, and I remember her win was the fact that she just didn't spiral down, and she actually spiraled up. Like, it was just like her mindset was just, oh well, it's not the end of the world, and I'll look after myself, I'll do everything that I know, nutrition, sleep, rest, and I'll be okay. And so that was just a huge pivotal turning point for you, you know. But again, it's that same thing of just not buying into the narrative. We all have a narrative. It's just, are you going to buy into it or not? You know, and is it serving you or not? Is it worth it? Yeah. Yeah. Hill, what comes to mind?
Yeah, going back to what Lauren said at the start, CFS for me, I think, was actually just an accumulation over like decades of all these habits and mindsets that weren't useful, such as pushing myself to the limit and, you know, always trying to be the best, perfectionism, like always striving to be better than everyone. All those kind of thinkings is actually what made me get into CFS, this chronic fatigue. So the biggest impact would be having to learn how to change those habits and those mindsets. Because I mean, I think that's what my body was trying to tell me, is like, these are the lessons you need to learn. You're in this way because you haven't learned these lessons, and I want you to learn these lessons so you can grow and improve. So I think learning those lessons on the journey was the biggest impact. And that's with me today, like these habits, sleeping early, eating right, not trying to compare myself with everyone or be the best all the time. That was the number one biggest thing.
I hope you found this episode of the podcast really, really helpful. Here are 3 ways we can help you whenever you are ready. So first of all, we have a free information group on Facebook. And so if you do have a Facebook account, make sure you go and join that group. There is strictly no negative venting. It's a very supportive, uplifting group. And there are some great trainings in there that can help you get started with your recovery. So it's called the CFS Health Recovery Information Group. There's a link here anyway, so click that link and join it. The second thing is we have a bunch of free trainings that will really help you understand where you're at, but also help you move forward. So we're going to leave a bunch of free trainings for you. So click on that, we'll send it to your email, and obviously you can watch them in your own time. And thirdly, we've just created a 15-minute chat link. So if you're someone who's like, man, this sounds really good, this is really helpful, I really want some personal help, and you want to have a step-by-step plan that will help you go from where you're at to where you want to be, we have opened up a few spots to have a 15-minute call, no strings attached. Basically, this call is to see if or how we can help you. If we can, we'll be able to share with you some information on what that would look like. And if we can't, we'll send you some free resources that will help you if you would like to do that. So we're going to leave a link below. You can book in your 15-minute call. This is not a coaching call, so don't expect to get coaching in a 15-minute call. This call is really to have a conversation around you, what you need help with, and whether or not we can work together to help you get the results that you want. So if CFS Health, the mentorship program, sounds something that you're interested in, but you're just not quite sure about it yet, this is a perfect opportunity to book in that call, have a chat, and then of course we can go deeper if this is something that you would like to do. Hope you found the podcast helpful. Please leave some love, especially on the YouTube channel. Go and comment on the videos that you found helpful, and appreciate all your support, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. All the best for now. Speak to you soon. Bye.